Thank you.
Yeah,
Frame
that was a
3.
surprising
John Higgins to break.
shot, miss on the black, and of course it's in the red. Well, I think what we got out of that, Dennis, and one thing that we want to see to make this the great match we're hoping it's going to be, is that both players look in great form.
And immediately Ronnie left with quite a difficult situation. I don't think he can get through to pot this red the right of the bunch. If he could, he'd take it on and he could miss the cannon on the black, but now you can see, you can only see the right side of it. But this table looks to be playing beautifully. I mean, even with that safety shot, he hardly hit it, and the white come right the way around the table. Tell you what, some of the tables we used to play at the holiday camps, John, what about the cushions on them? They used to be there to stop the ball from dropping on the floor. But these cushions, and they're not bouncing as much as they were in the first round. I think that's why we're seeing so many big breaks now.
Well, this looks good from John. Yes, big breaks from cue ball control, and if the cushions aren't reacting as you would normally expect them to, then obviously you run out of position. But when you've got confidence in the cushions and the pace of the table, these guys just need one chance, and you just get the feeling that they're going to make a frame-winning contribution.
Very difficult here. I mean, if he goes off a couple of cushions, he'd have to land right on that red, but I can't see anything else he can land on. But he'd have to be very precise. Is it hard enough? I think that's going to be short.
Follow the miss. John Higgins 4.
But the thing is, if he hits that red and he hits it with a little bit of pace, he could leave a pot on. I think it's the only shot that's available to him.
I've noticed that Ronnie's one of these players now. A lot of players will stand there, but Ronnie goes back to his seat, lets the referee do his job, and then when the referee's happy, he'll come back to the table, and the referee's already said to him, well, looking at your line, I think that cue ball's in exactly the same position.
Yeah, we left the line up there. But the first part of the line's a little bit odd. He's got to go to the right of the first line, but that's definitely where he's looking at. I think it's a little bit odd anyway. We'll find out when he tries it again. But he hit it with a little bit of pace, and there may be a red that pots up into the left corner, up past the blue. That was why he was trying to just nestle on the red. And he can run through here and get himself onto a colour. And there's the shot. You've got the perfect view. Just watch. We'll know if it's in before John does. Right in the middle of the pocket.
1. Seven. Eight.
Given this plenty of thought, it's not straightforward. Obviously, the black may be available into the right corner. The pink's not that much available. It's only available into one corner pocket, the one he's playing it in now. So, just needs to be certain of the next red he's going to play. The one just below the pink just gives him a little bit more room
14.
to play with when he's playing for the pink. Just roll it in for the pink in the left middle.
15.
Well, could have been a little bit better that. He wanted to be straighter on this pink. He's slightly hampered here. We can just get past the reds. That's okay. He
21.
can just get past the reds. If he would have been hampered in any way there, that would have been a tricky situation. So up for the blue this time.
22.
Now, there's plenty of loose reds, but he's got an angle to pot the blue and go in between pink and red and cannon those reds to the right of the black. Now, he'll have a little think about the situation. And he's coming around the table, but it is on if he wanted to take that on. The choice to pot the blue, cannon them, he could clear the black spot area. He'd be taking a bit of a chance, but that's why he's giving it a little bit more thought. But I definitely think that would be a good choice of shot. Well, he's played in, well, I don't think he played to get the gap. Now, how's your luck, John? I don't think he's on anything.
27.
Well, he was definitely trying to nudge into a red. He couldn't have played for that gap. That's amazing how he's gone through it and then back through it. He was nearly on the red to the right centre, but looking at his body language and the way he's walking around the table, he's on nothing.
Yeah, he thought long and hard about that last blue and how he was going to play the cannon.
John Higgins, 27.
That's the shot that I thought John might play. He would sort of have cleared the black and left himself a couple of reds. But he just tried to get to the loose ones. Very unlucky not to cannon one there. He just caught it a bit thin, John, didn't he there?
Yes, he wanted to come round off two cushions this side of the blue. He went the far side of the blue and he's left a possible pot on here. Just made it a little bit awkward for John because of the close proximity of the green.
One.
Potted the red, but he won't be going for a colour here. Tries to play the run through and try and get the snooker behind the brown, and didn't seem to be bothered that he was knocking the green safe, so he's just messing the table up a little bit, which he's quite entitled to do when he's 32 points in the lead.
And not straightforward to get to this red that's on the back cushion behind the black, because that red, the right side of the table, is blocking the escape off the side cushion to get to that. So he's just playing to hit the red near the cushion here. Well, no, he's trying to make the angle to get to it with a swerve, but he's hitting the wrong side of it. He couldn't play it directly onto that because of the red that was near the right side cushion, and he tried to manufacture the angle. and hit that red on the wrong side.
One.
Well, has it
Eight.
gone wrong? Maybe these two reds that are together to the right, and he can just pot the end one. It's not exactly as planned. It
9.
was okay, that one went as well. But he's short of length on the blue, and the pink's not available, so this has gone slightly wrong.
Yeah, it was very awkward, the red. He was trying to manufacture the angle because the natural angle he would caught the red, so he played it with swerve, and he was a bit unlucky to hit it on the left side.
$40. John Higgins, 14.
So that positional shot when he came wrong side of the blue, couldn't get close to the next intended red, and he'll be disappointed. He was just in the position where the reds were beginning to loosen up, and as I say, that poor positional shot on the blue. So this good chance now is following to Ronnie O'Sullivan. Well, the crowd, and there's just an air of expectancy here, a typical first session sort of atmosphere I'm feeling here, Dennis.
Yeah, and lots of ladies in the audience as well, looking around both sides of the arena. They really do like the snooker in Sheffield.
1.
Well, they have been doing for 30 years. Now a long pink to keep this going. This is key shot here. If he knocks the pink in, he'll leave himself those two reds to the right of the black, and a great chance.
Yes, one of these shots, if he misses it, he'll know he's lost the frame. And he's missed
Ronnie
it,
O'Sullivan,
so he won't
1.
be happy with that. So he's now presented the third frame to John Higgins.
One.
And that type of miss is the sort of shot that will frustrate Ronnie, because he knew that was a great chance to get right back in this frame. And he looked just a little bit edgy on that one.
8. Yeah. 9.
Well, he was nearly giving the cushion a wrap there with his knuckles. Sometimes he does that. It's just a little bit of frustration. Nothing wrong with that at all. Just shows what it means to these players. I think he's going to have to get himself ready for the next frame.
$17.
So this blue to go 67 points in front with only 59 left on the table. It's all academic now. Frame is safely in John Higgins' hands.
22.
Needed a couple of chances. Different from the first two frames where both players one visit really on the frame. This was a little bit more tactical.
John Higgins.
Well, I thought Ronnie was going to concede there, but he is coming to the table. 67 with just 59 on. And that tells a little story, the fact he's come back to the table. Normally he would concede. But just going back, we mentioned when John Higgins was 30 odd in front, John Higgins pushed the green safe. It was early to do that, but if Ronnie had a potted the long pink, you know, and got the reds, he still would have needed that green. So John Higgins was still, you know, thinking, even on a shot like that, his brain was working overtime.
One.
Yeah, we're not used to seeing people like Ronnie, Stephen Hendry playing when they need a couple of snookers, but I just got the feeling that after missing that pink, this is a little bit of character shown by Ronnie. He thought,
Eight.
well, I'm just not pushing the cue through straight at the moment.
9.
But he's not let the pink upset him, and he's quite prepared to come back to the table and just try to get his cue arm going. Something we don't normally see.
16. 17.
There's the difference,
24.
43 with just 35 on the table.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 24.
He'll want to keep this red on the table. Won't want to pot that. And he'll probably concede now. He's having a look at the scoreboard. He had 2 snookers to tie before he potted the red. So
Yes, if he pots the pink, he'll need 3 snookers. He'll concede now.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
yeah, normally a player doesn't concede when the other player's at the table. It happens sometimes. You look at the player and you say, well, should we start the next frame? But he will stay in his seat this time.
Seated.
Well, he's going to leave the auditorium, but John Higgins, well, he looked in fine form in that frame. Give Ronnie a glimmer of hope, but he missed the pink, and it was purely academic after that. And John Higgins is 2-1 in front.
Please. Thank you. Frame 4. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Well, John, 15 years ago, 20 odd years ago, I can't remember Steve Davis refusing a pink like that, or it being a risky shot. He used to get down and knock it in and clear the table.
Yeah, time clouds people's minds. Pretty good shot that from Ronnie. Wasn't easy to play safe off that red, but he didn't want to get involved with a little tip-tapping safety at this end, which it could have turned out to be with that red at the far end near the corner pocket. I think Ronnie just wants to keep this open and keep it a nice open game. Safety shots back into baulk and the like, although John Higgins probably won't play this back to baulk, just to contain in safety. But there's an easy clip off for Ronnie here to the baulk cushion. I don't think he can get behind yellow or brown. And the main object of the exercise, if you can't do that, you must get a good length. Must leave this cue ball tight against the baulk cushion. That's the only way you're going to make it difficult for your opponent.
It'll be very see what happens if we do have a few tactical battles. You'd think John Higgins would get the better of that, and you wonder if Ronnie would really want to get involved too much in that, because we do know he likes to be in amongst the balls. And okay.
Well, I said it looks a straightforward safety. Is he thinking about the pot to the left middle here? It's the only thing I can think of if he's going to play safe off that red. Given this lots of thought, it looks a straightforward shot to me, so another change of mind. There are many different ways to play it, but he got the required thing. Cue ball tight against the baulk cushion. As I say, he couldn't get a snooker.
But very clever to put the white there. I say that because of where the green's positioned. There's no escape off that left side of the reds. Green is blocking that. Now, there was a red Ronnie could have had a go at there, and sometimes he would do, but I think he doesn't mind this tactical battle here. When it gets like this, it's a bit like watching a game of chess. See who makes the mistake first. I think people at home enjoy watching this as well. It's nice to see the big breaks going in as we did in the first 2 frames, but it's nice to sit and watch a good old tactical battle.
Yes, I'm not certain whether the players enjoy it. It's nice to be able to be potting balls, make sizable breaks, but just the way this frame has turned out and the way the balls have run early on. Just screwing off this red back to the top cushion.
And now we've got another red up the other end of the table. It makes it even more difficult now and more awkward.
Yes, and Ronnie, well, he's just going to go to the baulk cushion. And that's a good time as any to go up there when, as you say, Dennis, we've got reds on either side, but he just overhit it. Didn't get the cue ball tight on the ball, and that would tempt John into going for this red into the right corner.
Yeah, I think he'd take this red on, but the black doesn't go into the left corner pocket if he stopped there. He'd have to get the white over the other side of the black, and that would be very difficult. Yeah, he'd have to force the white off the top cushion to get back over there, and I don't think the angle's there to do that, so that's why he's just playing the safety shot. He hasn't got enough angle to play that shot. That's a very clever shot as well. A lot of people would think, well, why didn't he bring the white back onto the baulk cushion? He's left it over there because he's blocked the path off down the left side of the table again, and there's no easy path back down the right side of the table. So this is very clever stuff from both players here. If he can't see a path, he'll just come off the side cushion, which he's going to do, and just nestle on this red. It's to the left of the black. Well, that's what he was going to play. He's having another think about it. There's an element of risk with that shot he was thinking of playing, because if he catches the red too hard, he can push the pot on. Shake of the head tells you that he's in all sorts of trouble here. Ronnie did put John in all sorts of trouble here. Where's the red going? That's a terrific shot. It really is. Look where he screwed the white back to. It was worth the wait. He gave it a lot of thinking time there.
Yeah, that was the only danger. The red he was playing, he didn't have much idea where it was going to go, but came in and out of baulk. The most important thing from John's point of view was to get a good white, which is what he did. Now Ronnie obviously can just get past the blue here. He's going to have to hit this red absolutely inch perfect. And if he doesn't go in off, that is a tremendous shot. That's a little unlucky.
Still Higgins for.
Played it well. Pocket got in the way.
Ron.
See, the black had got free there, so it was available into the left corner. Previously, John didn't take on that type of shot because he couldn't get over to the other side of the black, but it's in the clear, as you can see. Now, let's see, is the black spot available and clear? Yeah, he can pot the one next to it, so this is a decent chance. So after all tactical play, it's John Higgins who's gained the upper hand. Just a little bit of noise somewhere in the crucible. That's just looking against someone. Not sure quite what happened there. It is on the other side of the arena, but because they're so close together, these tables,
Nine. Sixteen. Seventeen.
He come on that red such a way that he couldn't get on the black, so he tried to develop the green. It's okay. It's a little bit thinner, the potting angle, so he may decide just to run the cue ball into the reds here and trust to a little bit of luck. He's just about on a red to the right centre.
20.
Didn't play it with any great pace because he thought, well, the reds are loose enough. Just need to get on one, and he is, but hampered. May run into the pink. Just to look for position here.
21.
He potted the red nice, he's on the blue. Okay, wrong side, but if you're going to be wrong side, be well the wrong side. It does help. Good pot that though, striking down on the cue ball.
and just look where he's put that cue ball.
26.
I mean, you can't get any better than that. He's left himself a choice of reds in either corner pocket. That last shot was played to perfection. He had a long way to travel with the cue ball, but look where he put it, and look at the choice he's left himself. He could have finished on either of those two reds into this corner pocket.
27.
And there was a couple of reds available into the left corner pocket. So that really was a very good positional shot from the blue. Those reds I mentioned are also available into the right middle pocket, and John might be able to get onto them. Just with a little stun shot here.
$34. $35.
I just feel, John, if we do get a tactical battle, I'm not saying we will do, but the first two frames, one chance and the frame was over. But the last frame in this one, I think John would just have the edge on the tactical side of the game.
Well, you know as well as I do, Dennis, at the tactical side, it all depends what sort of a
42.
safety shot you produce. John played the deep screw, the red careered around, he didn't leave it. And I thought Ronnie had played the perfect safety shot and just running off, and that's what led to this chance for John. So, I know what you're saying, but I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of difference between the two with regards to safety. And I do think that Ronnie O'Sullivan's safety complete off the reds and getting back into balk and finding that touch and pace is
50.
as good as anyone in the game.
Only my opinion, John.
And we're all entitled to that.
Safety
51.
success rate at the moment, both sitting at 83%. Well, there's the difference,
56.
60. So a couple more reds and colours would be enough to secure a 3-1 advantage going to the mid-session interval. And we keep saying the players play these longer matches in little mini sessions. Your target would be 3-1 to go to the mid-session interval. 3-1 in front, that is.
57.
Yeah, we just looked at the safety shot, but look at that. That could be a telling stat at the moment. Long pot success. John Higgins, 100% for every long pot he's taken on. Ronnie down at 67%. He was only 56%
64.
in his last match, Ronnie, against Neil Robertson. So his long pot needs to come on a little bit.
65.
And he's going to go into the mid-session interval now. 3-1 behind.
$72. Yeah.
His positional play has been superb in this match. Long pot success rate you were talking about, John. He's taken 6 long pots on and knocked them all in. Frame safe, so he will try the cannon here to give himself a chance of a century.
John Higgins, 73.
No century break, but Ronnie leaves the arena. It's been a very polished performance from John Higgins, and I suppose he deserves that 3-1
as possible,
advantage.
please.
So as we go to that interval, it's 3-1 to John Higgins.
Well, I think the stats prove that both
Thank
players
you.
are equal.
Frame
and,
5, John Higgins to break.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously depends how people look at it, but no, if that's what they're after, Ray, there's no arguments here. We've been buddies for a long time and still will be.
I suppose 3-1 was pretty true reflection of the first 4 frames. John Higgins with breaks of 91 and 73. Only a break of 89 in the second frame. I'll tell you what I'd like to do, John. I'd like to get those two out on the golf course, John Parrott and Steve Davis, and get a few quid off them.
Oh, good line this. Little tap on the table from Ronnie. side of the cluster, just below the pink on the left-hand side as we look, is the area where you think he could leave it safe, but there's a few things can go wrong because he's not got the natural angle, so he's going to play this off 4 cushions. This is tricky on these tables. 1, 2, 3. Oh, far too low. 4. He's going to hit the 5th, but not close to the reds. It's a bit of an exhibition shot, this. I mean, I'm not saying for 1 minute that Ronnie's playing it like that. He feels it's the only way he can get in that side of the cluster below the pink, but these cushions do slide, and a lot has to do with the pace you hit it.
Yeah, that's the line there. I'll just put the line up. That's the sort of line he's looking at. So he's got to get close to the green. He's got to get close to the middle pocket. Otherwise, he'll come over towards the black again. See, it's not just there. He's going to have to change his shot here.
Of course, when you snooker like this, you can have as many attempts as you like, but of course these points mount up. Whether Ronnie will try and think of another way to play this, but at the moment he's not even close to what he's attempting. Ronnie goes to sit down while referee Johan Human tries to replace the cue ball. It shouldn't be a difficult task.
I don't know if there's another way. If he goes off the bottom cushion, side cushion, and up this side of the table, he might be able to get to that red. But it's very, very difficult to judge. But that's a possibility, that side of the table.
Third attempt for me. Is that all right?
Smiles all around.
You know, the third attempt he thinks he might have got it right, and I don't think Ronnie really got the gag, but he smiled anyway.
I think if he goes to the bottom cushion first. I mean, yeah, this is not a bad choice. 2 cushions and just into the reds to the left of the pink. That's nearer the pink though, and he might have left a red this time.
Foul and a miss.
No.
HIGGINS 6.
John will have it put back again.
Yeah, but that's a better choice. It only needs a minor adjustment. At least he got close to his intended target, which he didn't do on his first 2 attempts.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward. That's why he's playing it left-handed, but my first line is a little bit out, but that's the sort of shot he's looking at.
Okay.
This looks better. Well, I'd say it looked better, but Ronnie having a long lingering look at what he's left, John. Has he left anything?
Yeah, he was a bit unlucky there, because there's definitely a red in this left corner. It looked to be okay, and then suddenly he just cannoned the red out of the way. See, as the white's coming up here, it looks as if everything's going to be safe. Nice pace, but he's just nudged the red first, and he's pushed it on. John's looking at one into the other corner, which looks as if it will also squeeze between the 2 reds.
One.
And that was the reason he took that one. It was a more difficult pot, but look at the position with removing that red, and it's a good chance now.
Not quite certain what he's on this time,
8.
if anything.
Well, it's not the one he played for, but it's a tricky red in the middle, but he will be able to get onto the black and the pink where he places the cue ball. No.
John Higgins.
And what a
8.
chance now for Ronnie.
One.
Well, if he's straight on this red, that's fine. He just runs through for the black, for the opposite. Oh, he's okay.
9.
The thing is with these shots, you just don't, like the red to the left of the cue ball, you don't want to be hampered by it. And he could have maybe done with running through just a fraction more, but he can just cue through to the black. And there's been nothing wrong with Ronnie when he's been getting in amongst the balls.
16.
I think the only
17.
slight under par department of his game at the moment is probably his long potting. It was certainly the case against Neil Robertson.
24.
There you go, you see, 100% John Higgins and 67% Ronnie. So you can see a
25.
big difference there, but of course didn't need a long pot to get in here. John missed when he was in. Dangerous thing to do.
$32. 33.
He really is such a natural talent. The
40.
greatest we've ever had in the game. He's a treat to watch when he's playing well. Well, all the
41.
top players are, but there's something just very special about this man. There really is. Might have to play a cannon here just to hold the white. Just slipped away somewhat, but should be okay.
48.
It's always better if you keep close control of that cue ball. It's a delicate little one, John, to try and hold for the black here.
Yeah, maybe he won't. Maybe he'll just decide to play up for the blue, because, as you say, if he plays for the black, he may have to play it slow, and then you, even though they're very level, these tables, he can run out. So up for the blue seems a better bet.
49.
And he's okay because he's got a red near the baulk line, although he's just overrun that a little bit. May even play it into the left corner now. As I say, it wasn't that harmful that he was the wrong side, because he always had the red
54.
in the baulk end.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 54.
Just shows you when you keep getting yourself slightly out of position, and when he played the cannon, he just left it a little bit awkward, and you still would have expected him to knock that in, but the chance is now, and this is a very good opportunity for John Higgins now. Ooh. Well, John has been cueing absolutely beautifully. It's one that slipped away.
Okay, keep them up there.
Yes, a few people who have been out the into the table on the other side are now wending the way back in, and I thought we had stewards to stop people from coming in like that.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it, the Crucible, when you've got the intervals at different times.
Anyway, it didn't put Ronnie off. Nice little shot. Now, what sort of an angle has he got on the pink? Has he got an angle to disturb something, or does he have to play a... Well, he's too straight. He'll have to go up for the red in baulk, will he? No. Decided to hold the spot, and he has done. So that was nicely played. That was the advantage of being straight on the pink. Pink went on the brown spot, but that won't bother him.
8. $14.
The blue will put him 51 points in front, and there was a red nicely available. There you see, 51 ahead, 59 remaining. Pot this red, got 52 in front with only 51 left.
20.
Two chances here, Ronnie.
27.
But fortunately for him,
28.
an uncharacteristic miss from John Higgins. Didn't have to wait for the second chance too long.
$33. 34. 40. 41.
Yes, he really does look very focused, Ronnie. Sometimes when he gets to this situation, he just plays a few loose shots, a few exhibition type shots.
45.
But he's not here.
47.
He's just making sure that he's going to clear the remaining balls up.
50. 54. 59. 65. And the frame.
He's not going to bother with the black. He had an early break of 54, and then he finished the frame off with that break of 65. Ronnie O'Sullivan's just one behind at 3-2. And in that frame there was just a little instance when he did make the 54 break, Ronnie. He ran slightly out of position and he continued for 2 or 3 shots, and then this looked a fairly comfortable red. One good pot here back in the blue and he'd have been perfect, but he missed it. And I thought this could be a big turning point, John, because John Higgins had a chance to really come back in that frame.
Yeah, well, I'm certain when Ronnie missed the red, he was a bit concerned. He was trying to do a little bit with the cue ball, which you could maybe excuse why he missed the pot. But there's no excuse for the one that John Higgins missed. He wasn't doing anything with the cue ball, just a almost straight pot just to stun it in to stop for pink or black. That will have come as a little bit of a shock to the system.
Thank you. Frame 6. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Well, that break-off shot, not bad from Ronnie, but didn't find the baulk cushion. Covered the red to the right corner, there's one to the left corner, and of course John will take it on because the black's completely in the open off this break-off shot. Good pot here, could pay dividends.
Well, I think that long pot success rate will be dropping away from 100% because that's 2 longish pots he's just missed. They're not easy, but I'm so used to John getting so close to them. John dropped to 86%. He was at 100% for quite some time.
Eight. Nine. $16. 17.
Well, he gave the table a rap there. I'm wondering if he got a heavy contact or whether he just didn't get enough topspin to get the white through, because he's come up a long way short.
Yeah, it's something you can do. You pot the first red and you don't rate, or you don't envisage it's in the second red that thick. He probably thought he was going to catch it half ball, and that's why it's stuck in. This black's a tricky one.
Good pot on the black, but it was difficult to control the cue ball there. Now this red may go up past the blue into the corner. It cuts to the middle, that's sure, but it goes into the corner pocket clearly, as you can see, but it also goes into the middle pocket. You may elect to go for the middle to try and get on the black here. Long way off.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
The fact he's
24.
missed it on the side of the pocket that he did, that's why the white has rebounded so much. So
one. Six.
yeah, he seemed to be hitting the white in the middle here. He needed topspin to push through the reds, but he seemed to be striking the white in the middle.
Seven.
Well, that was an excellent pot from John. And, well, there's a chance it's a thin cut on the blue, but, well, he's playing the yellow to play for the one loose red, the one on the left-hand side of the table. Waiting for a better chance to go into the reds.
9.
Played that well.
He's got the perfect angle on the black. He could cannon, probably got the line a little bit wrong. He'd want to cannon the red to the right of those two, because there's one at the back of the bunch will go. He could go straight into the reds, but they're not a good bunch. I think that little cannon would probably be better. It would free those two reds and leave the one at the back of the reds on. Played it well.
17.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, that one into the corner, because the white's going into the reds. That's why he's looking at this more difficult pot up into the corner.
John Higgins, 17.
I think John thought he'd got that. Obviously the one at the back that he played to get on wasn't taking him through onto the black, but those are difficult when you're sitting right on top of the red. Just a couple of little edgy shots, John, from both players here in this frame.
One.
Yes, I think both players have made mistakes. We had a great start with one visit snooker it was at the start, and then since then there's been a few little errors crept into both players. And it's really now
6.
a good chance for Ronnie to level the match again.
7.
Played that nice. There's one loose red he can play for, or he could go into. Maybe the loose red is the best one to play for. There's one that will definitely pot. But after this
40.
red and the colour, it's important he tries to bring something into play.
15.
As long as you get a good angle on the black, and he's just about got there.
Yeah, that was the red that John was hoping to play that Ronnie just rolled in, but he'd got a perfect angle to get through onto the black. John previously didn't have the angle, that's why he took the long red.
$22. 23.
Now that's perfect now, he's got them ideally placed. Already 30 in front. So it looks odds on that we're going all square at 3 each.
29. 30.
The black to go 44 points in front, so another red and a black would be sufficient. He gets red and a pink, he'll need one more red. He's not looked at the scoreboard, so maybe he's already aware of that. He is.
38.
Play for the black, pot the black, and he'll go 52 points in front with only 51 left.
$45.
Yeah, he had a little glance at the scoreboard on the way around there just to make absolutely sure.
46.
But this is building up very nicely, this match. There's nothing to pick between the players at the moment.
$53. 54.
Nice angle on the pink now to develop the awkward last red. Well, he needed to just catch the red first. He caught the cushion that kicked the red away, and it does go in the far right corner, so left corner pocket.
Ronnie and Sullivan,
Not quite,
60 and a
but John
frame.
Higgins won't bother coming back to the table. John Higgins once again had a chance there, but it was Ronnie O'Sullivan who wins 2 frames in a row. We're now level, 3 frames apiece.
Yeah, there was quite a talking point there. John Higgins looked to be in prime position, and he played to get on the red at the back of the bunch there, and then changed his mind because he hadn't got a good angle on that red. I will show you at Hawkeye. As we swing it round, he was hoping to be straight on that. He rolls it in perfect on the black. If he plays that, he's cannoning the reds, and he didn't want to risk that. And he took the awkward red that he was close to, and he got down, and he thought it was in, to be fair, but they're awkward when you're close to them. John thought it was in at that stage. He was chalking his cue, and then suddenly it stayed there. End of frame.
Thank you, frame 7. John Higgins.
Just overhit the break-off shot a little bit there. No pot on, but it's an easy return safety shot for Ronnie. Your target is to try and get the white as close to the baulk cushion as possible. Somewhere like that. And that's so important these days with such good long potters in the game. He's got John in a bit of a problem here. He's having to think long and hard about this. I can't see an easy return to the baulk area. And with that red near the right corner, that's causing its problems. John can't come off the side cushion and land on that red that's near the pocket because he would leave the one just behind the black. So already over a minute trying to work out how to try and resolve this situation. Because there's no use trying to find a path through to land on the red that's closest to the black, because he'd leave the one that's over the right corner or near the right corner. So it's the 2 cushion escape to try and get back to safety. Ronnie looking around the corner to see what happens.
Foul and a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
Yeah, if he can get past the yellow with his bridge hand, he may not take the miss. He'll play the pot. I don't think the yellow's in the way there. wonder, is he playing a cannon here onto the red to stay for the black? Well, he played it with lots of side, a little smile there. Surprised he tried it with so much side, because it makes the pot much more difficult. Well, this is a gift for John Higgins. I thought he was going to play it plain ball and cannon the red there, and left him on the black.
1.
Well, we did mention in the last frame that the one department of his game that seems to be missing with Ronnie at the moment is his long game. And that would be a long pot missed. Not only missed, left John in amongst the balls.
8.
Yeah, I presume he's putting a little bit of right hand side and didn't judge the throw of the side. You can smile about it. But a chance for John to re-establish himself, and that's, I only say that because he's missed a few shots in the last 2 frames. Nothing puts you back on track than a sizable break.
9.
Judged the cannon there off the second red nicely. Now if you could just pot this black, get a nice cannon and leave himself for a red to the right corner, this is a great opportunity. Well, he's got the cannon, but what's he on?
16.
I think nothing. Just caught them in the join and went through, and a little less pace, he'd have probably kissed one and the cue ball would have stopped dead. Only a safety shot to play.
John Higgins, 16.
Well, it'll be a relieved Ronnie O'Sullivan back at the table. He didn't expect John to go out of position. We showed you that pot that Ronnie missed, and Hawkeye'll show you where he's going to strike the white, because he didn't want to cannon the reds. He wanted to bring the white back more square, so he played with lots of side, and that's why he missed the pot there.
Yeah, it's a safety shot to play, but he'll be over the moon that he's come back to the table only 10 points behind. There's a couple of bits that you could play a pot on, but very risky. I think John will settle for the safety here. Looking for that good cue ball near the baulk cushion. Well, he found the path back.
One.
Couple of nice kisses there for John, the red and then the yellow, leaving him on the brown, and the reds couldn't be better situated. You feel he needs to make the most of this chance. The reason I say that, just from a confidence point of view, he's just gone off the boil the last 2 frames as John. He needs to re-establish himself and get his confidence back.
12. 13.
Yeah, the only thing John has done wrong is he's missed a couple of longish pots. But he's in close control here. Doesn't have to worry about the black. He can score enough with the pink
19.
and the blue. And I think it's quite an important frame here. After leading 3-1, he certainly wouldn't want to lose this and lose 3 in a row.
20.
And if he does take this frame, then he knows he can't be behind after this session. Play 8 frames here.
$23. 24.
Well, he's got a good angle on the brown. He's got at least 4 reds he can play to get on here.
$28.
Played for the 2 to the right of the pink, but I think he'll take the one into the left corner because he can reach that without the rest.
$29.
Nicely on the red now, 44-point lead. 3
34.
reds, 3 covers would be more than enough. So you wouldn't expect a mistake from John here.
$35.
These 2 players know each other's game inside out. They've played
41.
so many times. Ronnie well in the lead.
42.
He's beaten John on 24 occasions. John has won 15 of their matches.
Yeah, he could have been better on the blue, left himself straight. Shouldn't make a difference, but he'd have liked this red to have been a little easier. There you see it, 57
47.
ahead, 67 remaining. Red and a colour needed.
$48.
Yeah, potted that in the left hand side of the pocket there, but he's perfectly on the pink. So this high standard continues.
54. 55.
John Higgins has had breaks of 91, 73, and now this. Ronnie's had breaks of 89, 54 and 65 in one frame, 60 in the last.
61. 62. 69. 70.
Chance of the century break now for John Higgins. He has made 349 centuries in his illustrious career.
76. 78.
Perfect angle on the blue to get to the yellow. Just run through with a little touch your right hand side. Just watch the white as it hits the cushion. It's nicely off and over behind the yellow.
83. $85. $88.
If he clears the colours, it will be his 6th century break here, the Crucible this year. And it'll be 45 in total. So the standard improving. And I think a lot of that down to the new cloths that were put on. The tables are playing beautifully. $350th century break of his career. Terrific performance from the Scot. And John Higgins goes back into the lead again at 4 frames to 3.
Quiet as possible, please. Thank you. The final frame of this session, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Pretty good safety shot that from Ronnie. Nearly finding the baulk cushion. Certainly not a straightforward return to baulk. There's a red on the left-hand side of the table, but be risky to take on. One to the right side, but another tough shot. Maybe tempted because the black is available, but well, has he found a gap to try and get back to baulk? I don't think so.
Yeah, that was the only red he could leave was the one he was having a go at, and he got so close to the pot that it's wobbled and gone over the other corner. There was no path back to the baulk area, that's why he took that difficult pot on, but this is not straightforward. It's a thin cut. The white would head over towards the reds and pink, so it's a thinnish one, so just watch the white here. How unlucky is that? That looked to be a controlled cannon to free the pink, and look what the red has rebounded and landed.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
And this was the shot. He could have played a lot more pace, but he decided that If he just hit the top half, there was a chance of bringing the pink into play. He did that. As you say, Dennis, unlucky. The red came and covered.
But have you noticed, John, it didn't annoy him. He carried on, played the safety shot back to his seat. You know, his composure's very good. His concentration looks very good.
Poor safety from Ronnie. I've said many times at this level, you cannot afford to hit a baulk colour full in the face, because that just leaves the cue ball near the baulk line and you're asking for trouble. So even if there's not a pot on, you'd expect John Higgins to play a good safety here. His target will be the green, just to rest on it. Oh, he needs it much too thin. So he missed an opportunity there, did John, to put Ronnie in trouble.
Well, Ronnie has looked at the pot into the left corner, a pot that sometimes he would take on. He's now looking at the safety shot, so he's showing a lot of discipline here. Show you the shot there that Ronnie was faced with, a shot that we've seen him take on many times, but this is the final frame of this session. He's 4-3 behind. To path through, he's anxiously looking to see what the outcome of this shot will be.
One.
What about that for a shot? Okay. He's hampered, but what a terrific pot. And he's got very little to do with the cue ball to leave a red on. The black might be tied up when it respots, but 10 out of 10 for that last one. Now, let's see if the black's tied up now. I think it might be. But the pink and blue's in the open.
8.
Well, he could possibly play a little cannon and free the black here. He can knock that red away from it. Oh, he took his eye off the pot.
John Higgins, 8.
There's a path through to the red that's near the middle pocket. Ronnie can get through to it. And he could quite easily get on brown or blue from this one.
One. Six. Seven.
Roll that red in and just got a little flick off another red, which was intended to hold the cue ball for the black. Just about on it.
$14.
Can't play for the black this time, of course.
15.
Well, he's on the pink, but he's come hampered. Now, it might be okay, although it doesn't make the pink any easier if he can just drop it in and be on a red. It looks as though he can, but these are tricky. Played that well and made it look easy, Dennis, but when you're really hampered and the white is
21.
right close to a red like this, it's difficult.
It's so easy to put a little bit of unwanted side on the shot and you throw the pink offline.
22.
But I've been very impressed with Ronnie's composure, his concentration. He looks very, very focused. I think he's got the utmost respect for John Higgins. Well, both players have for each other. They're two of the greatest players in the game of snooker. And it really is terrific to watch and a delight to commentate on.
29. $30.
Just at enough angle to force the cue ball over.
37.
The red in
38.
the same pocket as the black. This is an excellent opportunity. We always say what is a fair scoreline at the end of any session, Dennis, but I think they've sparred with one another. They both made mistakes. At times they've looked very
46.
good when they're in amongst the balls. I think both players will settle for 4 apiece.
Yeah, I mean, the match started
53.
with a 91 break from John, then an 89 from Ronnie. It's going to finish in style by the looks of things.
54.
Because John, on a lovely 110, fine century break to win the last frame. And don't be surprised if Ronnie doesn't finish the session with a century. His main concern is to win the frame, obviously. And with the red safe, the yellow safe,
60.
it's not really on, but you just never know. But what a finish that would be. Century each.
61.
This is the colour that clinches the frame. There you see it. 61 points in front. Just 59 remaining.
68. 69.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. 4 each is a pretty true
76.
reflection of the match.
Ronnie,
Well, I don't think Ronnie was too bothered about that. He was past the winning line. John Higgins offered his hand. So nothing to choose between these two great stars. They end the first session of 3, all level, 4 each.
Thank you. Frame 9. John Higgins to play.
Middle session of 3, semi-final place at stake. John Higgins led 3-1 and 4-3 yesterday, so Ronnie O'Sullivan would have been the happier with a 4-all overnight scoreline. The Higgins break-off shot has given O'Sullivan an immediate problem, because Higgins has put the cue ball exactly where he intended to, tight on the cushion directly behind the yellow.
His intention was to catch that red a little thinner, by swerve round to get to the point of contact, but as it turns out, it's fine.
Yes, the left of centre striking was also taking speed off the cue ball.
Foul on the miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
Needed a thin edge, but didn't find it.
Typical early morning start this. Both players look a little bit rusty. Sure they'll soon get going. It's a better shot from O'Sullivan. His task there was to cover the right hand side of the pack, and he's achieved that. Oh, has he? John Higgins can just get past the pink, probably to the red next to the black. Slightly thin, that one. Good shot. Yesterday's played at quite a quick pace. No frames went over 20 minutes, and well, they've gone coming up to 5 minutes almost in this frame. See the average as well. That's very quick, isn't it? Just over 14 minutes a frame. Worth a try, that one. He was trapped a little bit. Not easy these, because if he pots it, he's only got a safety afterwards, but he's had to play that shot to get out of trouble. I think yesterday, Clive, the pattern of play, which is, as you mentioned, 40 minutes of frame, is due mainly to the amount of breaks that are made.
Only one of yesterday's 8 frames failed to produce a break over 50. Highest breaks 110 Higgins, 89 O'Sullivan. Higgins also had runs of 91 and 73.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
The cue ball, they seem to hug the cushion. Down there.
From the D, O'Sullivan gets Higgins over the awkward side again, but just enough room between yellow and pink for the safety in reply.
You can get at this red on the left corner. He'll be hoping that somehow or other he can get the cue ball out of there after potting it through. He's got a cannon into something. Relying on a little bit of luck here.
1.
Oh, I didn't see that shot,
Well, another red prodded the black into a very good position for Higgins. O'Sullivan, as he frequently does, warming his hands on a cup of hot water.
all he's got is one in the middle if it passes the pink.
8.
It does go, so I think the pink is also available into the opposite centre pocket.
9.
So after 8 minutes of safety play between these two is not what we've come to expect. With some good quality safety. John Higgins gets the first chance.
$15. $16.
Well, he tried, I think, to play for the blue there and be low enough down the table to pot the blue and come back up towards the red, but he's overdone it a bit. And if he's straight on the brown, he's going to be a little restricted with position off that. He can still take the blue. How's that for a shot? As played, excellent, and a little unfortunate.
21.
Yes, beautifully judged cannon.
Touching ball.
Thought he had to go up for the blue there, but he held that cue ball then for the black.
$29. $30.
He's having another look at the red. I think it's the red by the pink to see if it goes into the left corner. He's had to look at it twice. Otherwise, he's going to have to cannon the red. There's no other reds on.
$37. $38.
A little undecided. I don't think the two reds to the left of the black, you can get in the potting angle of those, and if he's playing for a single red, which it looks as if he is, he's going to have to be accurate with the cue ball. Oh, that's gone badly wrong.
45.
Yeah, straighter on the black than he would have liked.
He's looking at the two to the left of the pink there, and I'm not sure if one of those is you can get to the potting angle of one of those, or it'll go into the right centre. He's taking his time, so no, it doesn't go. He was just looking at what's the best safety shot you can play. Good effort this from John Higgins. It's his first scoring visit in the second session after a long bout of safety.
John Higgins, 45.
A break which puts Higgins 37 in front. Didn't mean to cannon a second red. Dead straight to corner. If his cueing is true, he'll pot it.
1. Eight. 9. 14.
Higgins within a few pots of regaining the lead at 5-4.
15.
And O'Sullivan hasn't had a pot to go for this morning so far.
Oh, the 8 points that's on the scoreboard is due to
21.
John Higgins going in off and missing the ball completely during the safety bout they had earlier on, which lasted just about 8 minutes.
22. 'John Higgins, 22.
Well, Higgins from his red was playing for pink, but those blues to baulk pocket from close up don't usually elude him.
1. Thank you.
No, he looked immaculate before that. Must have come as a little bit of a shock system to John. He's got to sit down and hope that O'Sullivan slips up here somewhere.
Had Higgins potted that blue,
7.
he would have needed only one more red to secure the frame.
8. 15.
Top red goes. And the
16.
other one.
He's having a look here now as John watches on after that missed blue. Looking there to position for this red beer. Top of the black to cannon the other red out and stay for the pink possibly. Tough to pot that red on the left if he doesn't get the cannon. Perhaps only a double would be possible. So he got the perfect angle.
22. 23. 23.
Very nicely judged. Would have been better still if the cue ball had come out further. has just overrun ideal position there.
Ronnie went to look then if the red passes the brown into the right corner, which is not what he played for, but it doesn't. Taking it on, he'll try and hold the cue ball.
Ronnie
There's a
Sullivan,
chance then to cover the
29.
red on the pocket with the brown or yellow. Don't think he has though.
Awkward little cutback that was.
One.
Just the last red left O'Sullivan needing one snooker.
5.
The brown, in addition, leaves him needing 2.
7. Ten.
Higgins has never been behind in this match.
John Higgins, 14 and a frame.
He regains the lead at 5-4. As Higgins has left the arena, we won't resume commentary until his return.
Frame 10, Ronnie Sullivan to break.
It's only the red or the left of the blue I think he's assessing here. Can't really pot it and run through for the black. Because the angle is not quite right. You'll see with the Hawkeye there, the white would be running into the pack of reds. Maybe chancing it. Wow, he played the cannon off the side of the pack. Very clever shot. And the reason he went for the... Let me see the shot again. It's the red behind the black is the problem. Normally you could just roll up and put the cue ball on the black cushion for safety, but that wasn't available because of that red, so... I think this red goes above the black. Not a favourable angle for Ronnie O'Sullivan, but at least something to go at.
1.
Bit thin on the black. Bound to cannon the red behind it. Always a strong favourite though for that sort of straight blue at that range.
7.
Still a little bit of a tester for O'Sullivan, that blue. I thought he struck it beautiful. I think both these players have got so much respect for each other that they're aware that they can't go 2 or 3 frames behind. Either of them could just run away.
Bunch scattered. Position on pink. These two have been playing each other for 15 years. 24 wins O'Sullivan.
21.
15 Higgins. Ooh. Meant to be on the pink. Pink would have been unmissable. This is just another little tester.
$27. 28.
Doesn't use the rest a lot, Ronnie. He's so good playing with his left hand. $34. 35. You're seeing here why O'Sullivan is such a feared opponent. John Higgins just went for a long red of the first shot he got of O'Sullivan's break off, and well, there was nothing on. Really, one red. He needed a good kiss to get started somewhere. Thought of a good blue.
41.
Blinked a few times. The balls are wide open. There's a chance to win the frame.
O'Sullivan was very disappointed with his long potting when he beat Neil Robertson 13-10 in the previous round, and said that he had to make it count when he got in amongst the balls. Over the whole tournament,
44.
O'Sullivan is 6 out of 10 for long pots.
$45.
And he's lost black ball position.
play to go to the left of that red. Didn't want to. If he's going to cannon it, he had to cannon it on the inside. So he came back for the black. End of break. Ronnie won't be taking something on here. Too risky. He's 45 points in front. Good time to put a colour safe.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 45.
Unexpected loss of position by O'Sullivan brought that break to an end. This was it. Snookered on the black. And this is what he was trying to do.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
He played pot then. Put in an extreme amount of side on. You could swing the cue ball around the cushions to stop it coming back down towards the reds if you missed it. And as he went in off, ball in hand, Ronnie O'Sullivan with a long straight red to get started.
And because it was straight, he'll be very disappointed to miss it even from that distance, because there's no worry about assessing the angle. The long straight pot is just simply a test of cueing.
1.
So a reverse of the first room when John Higgins got in. Exactly the same break, 45, and
8.
Broke down. Give Ronnie O'Sullivan a chance to clear up.
9.
Sullivan, of course, broke down on the last red.
$16. $17.
If O'Sullivan had potted the long straight red, he would have had these.
Very clever shot. Both these players early on in the chances
24.
try and create a frame winning opportunity, and you can see then John Higgins a straightforward red to play for behind the pink spot, but ignore that. All of a sudden 4 reds in open play.
$25.
Perhaps the difference between the well, very top players and the rest. The other players know the shots. It just sometimes takes courage to play them, because if they don't work out those cannons that John Higgins played, you can look a little bit of a mug.
28. 29. Yeah. 34.
This is a chance for Higgins to open up a 2-frame gap again. O'Sullivan having been first in with 45, and had another chance from distance.
$35.
Well, he's left a slight angle on this blue, not a lot. Of course, you can just, if he wants to, you can hold the blue spot possibly. Blue then will go on the pink spot. It'll actually make the clearance a little bit easier if he gets to the stage.
40.
Or the coloured balls only stage. The pink's down below the black.
$41.
This is a big visit. Pinching the frame at this stage can have a big effect on both players. Higgins, of course, a big boost. Solomon a bit disappointed to lose this frame. Well, he hasn't lost it yet.
44.
John Higgins has overscrewed that by a good foot. Bit of adrenaline coming in there. Should have been right behind this yellow, straightforward shot. Wow, look how much cue he's got out from his bridge hand. Got the extension on. Oh, well done.
46.
I must say, Clive, it's hard to understand what happens to John Higgins. He's flirted with greatness and, well, failure in almost equal measure the last few seasons, and there's no doubt he's a potential winner of this tournament, but he's flattered to deceive quite a number of times.
49.
He came here, in fact, having reached only one semi-final this season.
All that will be
53.
forgotten, look, Clive, if he wins the 888 World Championships. He'll be ranked #1 in the world. He'll be off to go there. He'll be a tough one for anybody once his confidence comes back, and he's showing some here.
58.
So pink is frame ball for a 2-frame lead. Black for good measure. O'Sullivan led 45-0, lost position. Ultimately, Higgins comes back, and with that break of 71, leads by 6 frames to 4. O'Sullivan led 45-0 and then 49-0 through a foul, which gave him a chance at a long red and a chance to clinch the frame.
What I couldn't understand here, he put the red just off straight, Clive. There you see it with Hawkeye, and by doing that, if he just caught it a little bit on the thin side, so threw the red to the left, he's always going to leave John Higgins the 2 reds on. We can see at the right of the screen, and that's what he done. If he'd have put it straight and slightly mishit it, he couldn't have left those reds on, and from there John Higgins cleared up with that 71 and 2 frames in front.
Thank you. Frame 11. John Higgins to break.
That was an attempt at a long red, but O'Sullivan hit it so thin, he counted another ball. O'Sullivan showing signs of strain, and possibly irritation with his performance so far this morning.
Strain and irritation. I don't like that combination, Clive. That's not what you're looking for out there. Can be so testing this game.
Six.
Just fractions in it, isn't it? When you look back now, the first frame.
7.
Ronnie Sullivan would have got position on the last red. He was only an inch or two out. He probably would have cleared, and you see now he's well, he done well to miss it by that much. Can be so unsettling out there at times, and when you've got an opponent like John Higgins who's snapping up his chances, it just adds to the pressure.
15.
Couldn't predict what would come out, but something good has.
$23.
Position lost though. The cue ball is finished behind the edge of a red to block his access to the one he wanted.
John Higgins, 30.
You'd be disappointed to lose position, but it doesn't quite hurt you so much as missing an easy pot, because these cloths are quite quick, and when they play in precise position amongst the balls, you can, well, just run a few millimeters too far and end a break. Cushion first there from O'Sullivan. Clever safety shot. He needs to well, I dare say he has pulled himself together, Clive. He certainly done it against Neil Robertson in the previous round when he started to find his best form towards the end of that match.
Yes, he did, but he's got to be worried about his long potting. The other day he likened it to a tennis player losing his serve. O'Sullivan only 56% for long pots in this match. Higgins 71.
I always say these players put a little bit too much on the long potting, but as you mentioned with Ronnie, who's looking there, it's so important to them. But I mean, if they're getting 7 out of 10 of long pots, they're doing okay, because I don't think there's anybody who makes 10 out of 10. They're all trying to achieve that.
1.
Well, that was a good one from Higgins. A long pot, by the way, is defined for statistical purposes as one of 6 feet or more.
Good pot in that black. Normally you just roll those in with the cue ball so close to the cushion, but
Eight.
he played with pace. He knew he was getting a cannon on the red, and that one hasn't worked out too bad. Difficult pot, but at least he got the angle to get on the black if he gets it.
9.
That's the way to play them. Fully commit yourself. Don't hit it too hard. Give the pocket a chance.
It did, off the far jaw.
$16.
He cuts in the black, but is lost.
John Higgins, 16.
Well, he needed to cover the red near the left corner pocket. He hasn't achieved that. But we've two of them available. Not sure how Sullivan's long potting confidence is. The secret of these shots, of course, is when you pot in most of them, you go down there and your mind is at peace and you fancy potting it and you're concentrating on your position. But when you're struggling with your long pot, you're just trying so hard just to get it in. And sometimes when the red goes in, you're a little bit surprised. All credit in there.
1.
Yes, he couldn't have felt that good about that one, having been so error prone from distance. Oh, but now
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
he's missed that half ball yellow.
Shame that for Ronnie Sullivan after such a great long red in the circumstances.
1. Eight. 9.
Higgins will be sniffing blood here, or at least an opportunity to build up a commanding lead with Sullivan struggling.
First time in this session we've seen the white
16.
bouncing off the cushion a lot quicker than they went on. Quite noticeable there on that replay. Well, has he got a plant there? I don't know what he's playing there. He can't get on the red at the back of the pack, which is the one he played for. Doesn't look like it from here. No, there's no plant there. See, well, that's frustrating, isn't it? It's he's in within touch there of a few balls of winning the frame. He keeps having a look at that red at the back of the pack, and he can't see it, but he's looking to turn it over, as they say, with a bit of side, try and change the direction the red goes.
John Higgins, 16.
I think he's wise there, though.
So Higgins there was the victim of a springy bounce with his positional shot. This was it. The cue ball really took off. Without the springy bounce, the cue ball would have been just on the red. Although Hawkeye went a millimetre past it, I thought. Maybe, as good a player as he is, Hawkeye is not infallible.
He looks pretty good to me, Clive. I was thinking of asking him for a few lessons, to be honest.
Well, it was a tough shot, but O'Sullivan had to take it on. He was opening the other reds. It could have led to a winning clearance, but 2 frames behind, and well behind in this one. That one would have looked more difficult to him than it normally would.
He took forever to hit the ball there, John Higgins. He knew how important it was, but sometimes when you take too long on a shot, it just adds to the pressure, and that's what happened here. See, the cue's coming back and forth, I don't know how many times. 7 or 8 times, he still hasn't hit it.
One.
O'Sullivan has missed position though. He's got to pot this black. Well,
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
it was tough from that distance, and he's not in his stride, and that made it tougher. He did at least play it in such a way that he had a chance of covering the pocket if it didn't drop for what would otherwise have been very simple reds.
John Higgins is looking at taking this red on into the bottom left corner. Now, he wouldn't really play that shot unless he was guaranteed not to leave another red on, because he's got yellow and black, so he's bound to be on a colour. So he may just screw the cue ball over the side. There, you see it. Leaving the cue ball there. He'd be leaving O'Sullivan a possible red, the ones below the pink and blue. But if you could have got the white tight on the side cushion, you'd have still been on yellow and black. I would have left this more difficult for Ronnie, but still a difficult one, Clive.
Yes, particularly when he's struggling. Attempted that red with safety in mind. It would be extraordinary if O'Sullivan could still win this frame, because Higgins has been in 3 times and also missed an easy ball with the rest to the right corner.
John Higgins having a look at the double now in the middle. Maybe some value. He doesn't want to bring that red into play. 60 points in front, but it's the only shot he got. Just a little bit wide on the double.
The red was the only ball he needed to leave O'Sullivan needing a snooker. That red attempted O'Sullivan, but in a sensible way. Hasn't left an easy clincher for Higgins.
He could play this off the black life. He has played it off the black.
John Higgins, 1.
Which leaves O'Sullivan needing a snooker. They're all tough pots O'Sullivan is having to take on at the moment. He'd get them if he was flying, or most of them.
1.
But he's struggling, and now he can kiss this frame goodbye.
Six.
O'Sullivan is trying his hardest,
7.
but at the moment it won't happen.
Still plenty of time though for Ronnie O'Sullivan to come back into this match. Okay,
30.
he's lost the first 3 frames of this session. It's first to 13 that actually goes through into the semi-final. And the way these two players play the game, it's quite easy to run 3 or 4 frames off because they score so well.
$16. 17. 20. 22.
All players are looking for some new element, something which will give a new edge to their game possibly.
25.
And in the case of Higgins, he's been doing breathing exercises which he says help him
29.
in matches when he comes under pressure.
34.
But it's O'Sullivan who's under far more pressure now,
40 and a frame, John Higgins.
as with that 40 break, John Higgins goes 3 frames clear. Higgins leads by 7 frames to 4. Solid stuff from Higgins, apart from one surprising miss, but more errors from O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan had a chance to snatch the frame, but this black from that distance was a tough one and he couldn't quite make it.
Thank you, friend. 12. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
almost an error. Just shaved that red on the way past with the cue ball, and if he'd have caught it full on, he'd have left Ronnie O'Sullivan a much easier red than this one.
One.
Excellent. Very important for O'Sullivan to win this frame, mainly because when you lose 4 frames before you go into the mid-session interval, you lose them all, you just feel you haven't done anything, and that would be very unfair. But we all know how demanding Ronnie O'Sullivan is on himself and his performances. He hasn't played that bad.
Five. Six.
O'Sullivan is also full of resolve.
Eight.
He's prepared for this championship very diligently in the last few weeks.
9.
And he doesn't want to waste all that effort.
We all know Ronnie O'Sullivan has thrown the towel in now and then by his own admittance, but don't ever underestimate the fighting qualities of this man. When he's in the zone,
13.
he's having to play not a difficult pot here, mainly because he's not. He's making some great pots as well. His cue ball control is just letting him down a bit. I think he'll be disappointed that he hasn't had the opportunity
18.
yet to bring the pink and black into play. He hasn't had the type of shot he can. That's what he's been looking for. Sometimes it doesn't happen.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 18.
And the hard-earned 18 it was. Right of centre striking, widens the angle off the cushion.
Another one goes astray for Ronnie O'Sullivan. John Higgins here has got the red to take on, but pink and black are tied up so far. That's a surprising miss though. Missed by quite a lot there. He was playing to get on the blue, I think, and he's you can see where the cue ball is finished. He's caught it quite thin.
1.
Well, that was certainly a welcome let-off for O'Sullivan, who still hasn't got it easy with pink and black tied up.
Six.
Well, he wanted to pot the blue at virtually its last roll to hold position, and it only just made it. What was that?
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
That was the effect of the previous shots when he almost, well, he mishit the cue ball on the blue, although the blue dropped in. I think that affected him, and worse to follow. He's missed this one with playing with the reverse side to go up for the blue, and he's cleared the black spot as well.
1.
Well, Sullivan's thinking, what's happening to me? This was the blue. Which only dropped through willpower in the end.
Well, that's the second bounce John Higgins has had. Springy bounce off the cushion.
8.
He had it on the red. He played prudence to get on the black, and another one here. He should have been at least 12 inches nearer this red.
9.
Good recovery though. And we have had problems with the cushions earlier in the championships, but the governing body decided to recloth the tables, which is a very good decision. That seemed to take out the early problems we were experiencing. It's been very hot
40.
as well. Very hot outside. Mustn't complain about that though.
$15.
Needs a nice angle on this pot red. Retain position on the black. Just had enough angle there to push through, but not enough to avoid the knuckle of the pocket. And that's taken him out of position. It's gone a little bit scrappy, this frame.
Scrappy or not, it's one that O'Sullivan needs to win somehow to limit his arrears to 2 frames at the mid-session interval.
Bramble. John Higgins, 21.
Good safety as well from Higgins. This is the only red that O'Sullivan can hit.
He's looked across. John Higgins, he's going to try and place the cue ball somewhere behind the yellow on the cushion. Wow. Well, he didn't play that. He apologised. As a matter of fact, he didn't catch the first red as intended, so he was even, if he had, he wouldn't have made the fluke, I don't think.
So what a difference that could make. Had the red not dropped, it would have been an easy starter for O'Sullivan. But now it's a chance for Higgins to compile a frame-winning break.
He reset himself there, didn't he, on the shot?
4.
Need a lot of power just to get the cue ball up as far as he's got it here by the middle pocket. The angle on the green was straight, and now he's got it. One more good shot. And you can see this frame going John Higgins' way.
Five.
Now that he's in close,
12.
it's no more bets on Higgins
13.
clinching the frame here.
$20. $21.
O'Sullivan struggling with his game, but nothing has gone right for him either. It was certainly no help to O'Sullivan that
28.
Higgins started this contribution with an outlandish fluke.
29. $36.
Frame ball barring snookers coming up.
37. $44.
So from 4 all overnight, we can say for sure that John Higgins has won the first 4 frames of the day.
$6.
And a major response is needed from Ronnie O'Sullivan after the intermission.
49. $53.
Higgins has played very soundly.
John Higgins 53 and play.
Very few unforced errors. So Ronnie O'Sullivan in deep trouble. John Higgins leads him by 8 frames to 4 at the mid-session interval.
Possible, please.
Championship snooker is a great test of skill, nerve and character, and Ronnie O'Sullivan up against it knows that he has to respond in the second half of this session if he's not to leave himself with too much to do in this evening's final session.
Yes, he's lost the first 4 frames, and with these 2 players you'd expect, if you lost the 4, your opponent to play really well, but pot in for Ronnie O'Sullivan, which is he hasn't been great on the long potting. He was down to 58% before that. But John Higgins hasn't really played as well as he did in yesterday's session. He's certainly been the better of the 2.
Four.
O'Sullivan's made a few mistakes. He's been vulnerable from distance.
5.
And he hasn't had the best run of the ball, notably in the last frame before the intermission, when Higgins had a fluke and made a winning 53 from it. Well, O'Sullivan couldn't have hit the bunch any harder.
12. Touching ball.
Yes, we caught that red full on, didn't he? And he was always going to stick in it. He played to probably catch it on the side.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 12.
Those small things have an effect out there, especially when you're 4 frames behind. There's no doubt that Ronnie O'Sullivan could suddenly hit the button and run 3 frames off, 3 or 4 frames with big breaks. But you need, as Clive mentioned, a few things to go your way. He's left John Higgins the red into the top right corner pocket. Think he can get at that. He hasn't given it much of a look yet. And we can clearly see he can get to the potting angle. Doesn't fancy it with the balls wide open. It's not a certainty, the pot, but you expect him to make it, well, 7 out of 10. He's having a look now. Needs the cue ball to bounce. And he's on nothing. There's a natural angle for the cue ball to come down towards the black. He was a little bit unlucky there.
Yellow ball. John Higgins, 1.
Not sure about that one, Ronnie. He's looking to pot that. He's not playing his safety off it.
No, cue ball was only a couple of inches off the baulk cushion. He would have been raising the butt of the cue. Too risky. But somehow Higgins can get between two reds for this one.
Worth a go, that one from John Higgins. He was always going to be on the black if he potted it. But he was always going to leave something on if he missed.
One.
There's another instance of the Ronnie O'Sullivan. He didn't get a great kiss there, and still got the green. Sort of stops you when you start to get into a flow and rhythm. So important to Ronnie O'Sullivan, the way he plays. He likes to speed things up, get in the balls and clean them up at the first chance he gets. Tricky this one with the rest.
It's pretty rare
4.
that he uses it because he's so good left-handed, but of course
5.
he couldn't reach for that one.
Seven.
Nice angle now to come down for the black.
8. $50.
And the problem he's got with the red in the middle is that pink and red next to it stopping him getting
16.
guaranteed position on the black. He's played it okay, but slightly awkward to cue in. He's got one red, I think, at the top of the pack into the centre. So
23.
just feel he needs to knock a 60 or 70 in here, clinch the frame,
24.
regain the confidence he doesn't seem to have acquired this morning. But that's gone wrong. Oh, that's awful. If he's not on the red in the middle, he's desperately unlucky.
31.
I think he can get there.
$32. $39. 40.
This is the first time in this session that O'Sullivan has picked up momentum in a break since his 45 in the opening frame of the day
45.
ended with loss of position.
46.
It's a very good positional shot there. He didn't play to kiss those reds. He had to just miss
51.
them to leave them both in the left centre.
52.
Well, this is reassured O'Sullivan
59.
and his supporters.
60.
But if he can get into a break-making situation, he can still do it.
$67. 68.
He hasn't been so good in broken play.
$75. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 75 and a frame.
And with that break of 75, Ronnie O'Sullivan ends his 4-frame losing streak and reduces his arrears to 8-5. Very often, the mid-session interval changes the course of a match. O'Sullivan really struggling before that 15-minute interval, but it's like a new start. You come out again, and from his first opportunity, O'Sullivan made that very nice 75.
Thank you. Frame 14. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Nice little flick off the green there for John Higgins. He would have possibly left a long red on otherwise. Now it's a tricky safety. Did a good job of that one. Have a look what's available for John Higgins. He's certainly not throwing the towel in here. I'll say that much for him. He was disappointed with his first 4 frames, I dare say. He said he's come here to win the title this year, and it's great to see him battling on. But he's up against a very sharp John Higgins, whose safety game is always good, and when he's scoring as well, which he has in this match, he's a very tough opponent. Both players up to 90%. The pot success is quite high. I said when he started to knock the long balls in, which he didn't do in the first 4 frames.
1.
Two out of 2 since the intermission. His long game has been his Achilles heel.
He's rising. He was at 58%. He's up to 67 now, and
3.
he's just slightly overrun here. Another look if the red closest to the cue ball goes in the left corner. Played for the red, I think, at the back of the pack. Okay.
4.
When Ray Reardon, Clive always used to say, I used to ask him some advice when I started because he was my hero, and he said to me that the secret of being a good safety player is you've got to make your fair percentage of long pots. And the reason he's saying that is because it puts pressure on your opponent's safety. There's no point in playing good safety and then going for a long one and missing it. But if you're playing good safety and you're potting the long ones, it's always going to be tough for your opponent to beat you. Still got to score, but in today's market, these players, well, they're all good in the balls. Perhaps not all as good as the Sullivan and Higgins, or 2 of the very best.
17.
Both these players are very strong when they get in the balls, but also they quite quickly. And even though Sullivan came out here 4 frames behind, when you're playing against him,
25.
John will be thinking, well, the frames are just going away so quickly. If Sullivan keeps
26.
scoring, it just seems in no time at all he's won 3 or 4 frames. And Higgins is similar.
$33. 34.
You're right about the mid-session interval though, Clive. Higgins wouldn't have wanted one. He knew Ronnie O'Sullivan was struggling in the first 4 and John was playing a lot better. Amazing what that 15 minutes can do.
$41.
Not the best possible split. But the thin cut held delicately with screw and right hand check side.
Well, we don't use the word genius very often, but you're seeing it why people call Ronnie O'Sullivan a genius here. Looked all out of sorts the first 4 frames. His timing was out, his long potting was poor. He wasn't clinching frames when he had the chance. Then all of a sudden you're seeing the other side of Ronnie O'Sullivan.
44.
Not quite here. Went at that cue board at least a foot away from the cushion. He's got a red on, Mr. Tester.
45.
They all seem to come the same to this man when he gets a run going.
45. $52. 53.
3 knocks on the table for Ronnie O'Sullivan to show his disappointment of not getting the right side of the blue. Okay, people may think, well, he's 53 in front, you know, he's on the blue, he can play a safety, but it's not about that for these players. Ronnie knows how important it is when he's, especially when you're behind in a match, to win in one visit. That pressurizes his opponent and, of course, sort of gives him more confidence. It's given enough time, though, to clear his head after that one. Played for that red into the right corner, but
58.
may still take it on.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 58.
Wiser not to though, particularly if he's played a good safety, and that red near the right middle offers O'Sullivan at least some measure of insurance against a Higgins clearance if he does get in.
John Higgins has looked here to see if he can possibly flick this red just above the black, off the black on the way past and into the corner. He's got to play it thin. Didn't quite work out, but he's got the ball safe, which is his main priority there. Sullivan played that safety quite thin then, not to spread the reds. But sometimes you can play them a little bit thicker and take a chance of putting one or two reds safe when you're protecting a lead.
Classic pot safety. Higgins knew the red was on.
Four. Five.
Maybe with John Higgins here, if you got the angle to bring that red off the cushion, he'd be on pink or blue.
13.
So no red safe now.
Now you can understand why Ronnie Sullivan has knocked the table 3 times in disgust when he didn't get on the blue.
18.
He made that earlier 58 break. He knows how good John Higgins is. Just give him a sniff and he's straight at you.
19. $24. $25.
The big clearances to snatch frames on pink or black are so important in championship snooker. And this could well be one of them.
Undoubtedly the most important frame of the match
32.
so far. John Higgins makes it. It'll knock O'Sullivan back and
33.
boost Higgins' confidence. If he doesn't clear from here, John will never forgive himself. Played them perfect so far.
$38.
It looks like the apparently impending O'Sullivan revival.
40.
Is going to be nipped in the bud.
$43. $47. $52.
Higgins has played these immaculately.
$58.
This for 9-5. With 58, but it's Higgins who clears up to 65 to go 4 frames clear once again. O'Sullivan again back in deep trouble. He trails by 9 frames to 5. Well, that frame turned on a roll of a ball, really. If O'Sullivan had got the cue ball just above the blue instead of straight on it, he'd have had an opportunity to continue his 58 break. But his displeasure was evident there, the way he banged his knuckles on the table 3 times. Dead straight on the blue, couldn't continue the break, had to play safe, and Higgins in the end takes the frame on the black with a 65 clearance.
What is impressive about that Higgins clearance, he's never lost the cue ball once. Every shot he played there in that break, more or less put it exactly where he wanted to, and that's what eases the pressure out there. Higgins would have been well aware how important the frame was and the clearance, and can't stress enough how important positional play is, because if you slip out of position, the pressure comes on and you can miss anything.
Frame 15. John Higgins to break.
Now that Higgins has nipped the impending O'Sullivan revival in the bud, he'll want to push on and build up a commanding lead going into this evening's final session.
That was the first time Ronnie O'Sullivan has passed 50 in this second session of this match. Well, fully committed, as he always does, to the shot to game position on the black, playing that with a lot of backspin to hold the cue ball, take the pace away from it.
It was interesting that Higgins immediately asked for the cue ball to be cleaned. So maybe there was a slight kick, and maybe that did affect the outcome of the shot.
1.
That previous frame could be the catalyst here for John Higgins to get in